Good morning, everybody. Today we're meeting Mel Ikeda. Good morning, everybody. We're here with Mel Ikeda here in Huntington Beach. Huntington Beach or
Costa Mesa.
We're how far away from the beach, by the way?
3 miles.
Oh wow! And then Mel is an avid metal detector, fisherman, and of course a bonsai artist.
And cars.
And cars. Oh yeah, I forgot about cars here. Thank you, Mel, for inviting us over. So, talk about your place. How long have you been here, Mel? So
About 35 years.
35 years. Jeez. Within 35 years, what does your wife say about your hobby here? Does she get mad at?
No.
Dude, I gotta meet your wife.
Yeah.
Actually, my wife needs to meet your wife.
No. Wow. We were in the business, the nursery business, so it just hand in hand.
Awesome. So, what are some of your favorite trees that you have on property?
Favorite trees? God.
Stories.
I know you asked me earlier, but
This walk and talk. I mean, this is probably the easiest way.
right now it's my seedlings.
Okay, so what's going on with the seedlings here?
Black pine seedlings.
Okay.
And a little bit on the contorted side.
So do you grow by seedlings or do you buy
Well,
them?
I bought them 1 year old.
Okay, so they're preset seedlings.
Yeah.
And then you just contort them, and then you're just growing them out. So are you going shohin like most older artists now?
You know, I purchased this for my nephew.
What's your nephew getting into
He
the
was
art also?
he was excited, and now he's no longer in the pursuit of bonsai. So
What happened
I
there?
ended up with all this stuff.
Oh, so if you're looking for a predetermined stock, Mel has you covered.
The main thing with black pines when they're singles seedlings is to put some movement in it.
Why is
First,
that?
you do the root work, and then if you put movement in it, you'll get these little buds, and this is what makes your trunk bigger. From the get-go. Yes, exactly. If you don't have this, the trunk will never get large. It just stay pencil size, or you have to. This is a good example. A lot of branches, small buds.
Awesome. So this is what your new projects are.
Well,
Project
it's
is.
things I know, but I never practiced because I wasn't into black pines.
But now you are.
Not really.
I see a lot more like Estradas.
Yeah, I'm a Estrada person. This is my only cork, black pine cork that I grafted in the root. You have to graft into the root.
Very cool. That's a rare species. Not many people have the cork bark black pines anymore.
That's true. They don't last too long.
Is there a reason why they don't last long there in Southern Cal? I only seen maybe like the older generation that has it. Like the Yamaguchis. I know they have a couple of them.
Yeah.
I know Tom Vong has a couple of them, but they're just a very rare. Is there any reason why they're so rare in Southern Cal?
I think that it's hard to
just grow.
To trim. You have to know when to trim, and they're different from black pines. So.
Oh, they are different.
Yeah.
I thought they'd be exactly the same.
No.
You know, cultivar wise.
No.
Okay, why do you have
Bonsai in a pot. Never got to the can.
What happened? Is that a water basin?
Water feature. What else?
Collected trees.
Collected tree. This is from Kauai Olive.
Kauai Olive. So what makes Kauai Olive so special compared to
Well,
other?
they have the bark. They're old. There's a forest of them. And this thing was about 20 feet tall and single. They're all singles. They're not multi-trunk.
So at Kauai, they're invasive, I presume? Grow in the wild?
Growing,
Yamadori,
yeah.
they're Yamadori, right? They're Yamadoris.
Yeah, wild. Yeah.
No, just looking at those. We got some forest back. I see some forest back there.
Yeah, few. Need some trimming. These were Lila Kasumis, but they were in pretty bad shape when I got them.
But they're coming back. It looks like they're coming back. Some of the lower branches.
Yeah, it needs to be transplanted next year.
Yeah, a lot more work for you to go through. But you know, it tells a story. I mean, some of these trees do tell a story.
This is a trident that Warren Hill created in Lila's yard when he was.
Warren Hill. Warren Hill's the East Coast, isn't he?
He is now Carolinas. Yeah.
He was on the West Coast.
Yeah, he was one of the main instructors in
Southern Cal?
Yeah, Southern Cal.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I just knew he was from the East Coast. That's all I knew.
No.
That must have been a couple years ago. That must be more than a couple years ago.
This?
Yeah.
Oh, 10, 15 years ago, easy. Yeah.
Tell me where to go, Mel.
Oh, let's go down the next aisle. Oh, let me show you my demo tree.
Your demo tree? What do you mean your demo tree?
It was a demo I did years ago. It's my, what do you call it, a raft.
Uh-huh.
You gotta get down real low to look at it.
Oh, is this the one that you screwed to the board?
Yes.
It was a Estrada raft.
No, Procumbens Nana.
Nana. Okay, I remember this one.
Well, this was done without the walls, the sides. I did it with muck to hold the rocks.
Uh-huh.
And then no walls, no sides to the box. This kind of needs cleaning up, but.
And this was this zip tied to the bottom?
Yes.
This is the one you drilled the holes.
Yes.
And then you zip tied to the bottom.
Right. You might still have them under. Maybe not.
I'm gonna sneak a peek.
I don't know.
I don't think they're there anymore.
No. Yeah, I should have thought this out more.
What do you mean I thought about more?
Well, cleaned it up.
Oh, the final product.
Put my gravel in there and stuff.
It's missing a pot. That's really what was missing.
It's all good.
Is that wouldn't be considered a cycade because it's not individual trees, correct?
No, that's a raft.
It's a raft, right?
Yeah.
Even though it has rocks and almost like a landscaping to it.
It takes a little bit of everything. When I do the raft, I use rocks, sand, gravel.
Almost like a cycade.
Moss.
But it's a different take on it.
No flowering.
No flowering in it.
Well, no, I haven't done that. I might do that.
Yeah.
Next.
I do know we talked earlier that you had your dad's tree. You want to show your dad's tree?
Oh, well.
How did you get to bonsai, Mel? I mean.
Well, my father was in the bonsai business for years. He went into the nursery. He was in the nursery business, and then the wholesalers started selling to the public.
Uh-huh.
And so he had to go and do specialize. So it went into bonsai, and nobody hardly knew anything about bonsai. But John Naka started teaching there years later. Harry Hirao. And then one day I went to buy some material for my dad's nursery, and I went to what was his name? Hatanaka's. And they were well known for great material. And I walked in there and I saw my first California juniper, and I went back and started talking to my dad about it. And he says, well, you want to get into bonsai, you got to go take lessons from Harry. And that's how it all started.
So it was a California juniper that really got you interested.
Yes. Exactly.
Do you remember what it looked like? How big it was? Because Californians are really.
Well, back then, Hatanaka's had bonsais like this.
A California that size?
Yeah.
Those are good. I mean, those are hard to come by these days.
Well, yeah, impossible. But back then, nobody was really into it, so it was easier to
really
collect.
Special. It was probably really special.
Yeah. When you started going after Californias with Harry, you'd have 20, 30 people out there collecting, looking for the same material. So back in the early days, it was a lot easier.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, real easy.
Did you want to talk about that California behind you?
Well, it's it needs cleaning up. I never got to.
But you want to talk about it. It's kind of cool,
Yeah.
Most people don't have Californias in a pot, and you have one in a pot. And you get really.
Well, this is my dad's.
This is your dad's tree.
Yeah, it needs to be cleaned up. That pot alone is very unique because deep and small.
Wide, yeah.
Yeah. This is the pot alone is probably back in the 50s.
But it's
50s or 60s.
But it's natural foliage. You haven't, and it looks like a male.
Yeah.
It looks like a male tree there, but it's kind of cool. So you do have your dad's tree.
Yeah.
So that's cool
kind of embarrassing to show it.
And it's more, I don't think it's more of the embarrassment. I think it's more of the heritage that comes with it. You know, the legacy that you have from your dad.
Yeah. At the collection in Fresno, one of my dad's trees is in there.
Fresno collection, I mean the central collection.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Let's see. This is one of his trees that he created while he was in business. It's about 2 trees wrapped together.
So is this Prostrata?
Prostrata. And I'm slowly.
That's really cool. So it was not one tree.
No.
Is that shari? That's considered shari, right in the middle.
I don't know. It's twisted.
You get a really close up look. Oh, that's really cool. So it is 2 veins, 2 roots.
And it's twisted in back, so it's twisted around.
That's cool. Pretty cool. That's different.
Well, now that we were better in designing bonsai, what's missing on this is the base, roots. And that's the whole thing about bonsai is the roots. The most important part is taper. If bonsai doesn't have taper, you don't
consider it as a
very good tree. Very good tree.
And taper you're talking about, is that considered the we know people understand about the trunk, taper from the nabari to the trunk to the apex. But how about the branches? Do you see that?
That's too. Everything. Roots tapered,
Uh-huh.
trunk tapered, branches tapered,
So
tertiaries tapered. Not no potato with
little
branches.
Arms. Little arms.
Exactly. No potatoes.
Mel, I noticed most of your Prostratas are in boxes. Is there any particular reason why they're in boxes?
Well, I hadn't worked on my trees or transplanted in 30 years.
Wow.
A lot of these trees are in the original soil and the original pots.
So all these trees, so I presume you're going to put them in.
This is what you want to do, is create something like this with a base.
Oh, look at that! Look at that trunk.
Does that tell you a story? Does that tell you a story?
And it's old. That's what it tells me.
Yep, exactly.
Especially that barkage. Look at the some of that deadwood feature. Hand carved, I presume.
Oh yeah. This is one of my Californias. It's coming back finally.
How do Californians do? I know you're an avid collector of California. How do they do out here in Huntington Beach? And what do you do to kind of keep them alive?
Basically, this water. Insects don't bother it, but there's something that's bothering this.
Fungus of some sort, probably.
Spider mites. Not spider mites. What was it? I need a systemic on this. I mean, I'm using a systemic. Yeah.
And I notice you got some areas that are overhead spray, and you got some areas are these drip.
Well, I water by hand.
You have water by hand on top of it. This is just vacation.
These aren't connected right now.
Oh, they're not connected?
I mean, it's connected, but it's not on. The timer's not on. I water by hand.
You water by hand. So if you go on vacation, who helps you out?
The timer.
The timer? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know. So you do everything by hand still. And you're retired now, so you have plenty of time.
Not plenty of time, but...
That's right, because you go fishing, metal detecting. You don't have homes either.
Yeah. Exactly.
These are pretty impressive trees now. And you're on a turntable, so it's to get the light on all sides.
Well, I need more tables so I can turn them. I have more things. You wanted to see my first tree?
Yeah. Oh, you have your first tree?
Well, it's kind of... Can you believe this? This is my first tree.
Estrada.
Yeah.
Was it a yard tree at one point?
No, it was I bought it at a nursery, and they dug it out of some kind of landscape. And it was in the city of Torrance, this nursery, on 223rd. And I bought it was in a 15-gallon can, and I brought it home and started working on it. The thing with classes with Harry, I know I would get teased if I brought stuff from the nurseries.
Why is that? Why would you get teased?
Well, not teased, but you know.
Because you go collecting so much, is that why?
No, what I did on the way to Harry's, I would stop at a wholesale nursery and buy Estradas, raw, and then take it. I remember the first one I created at Harry's it was like a cigar, and it had 3 wings like a fly and an apex. It was the funniest thing. My father saw that, couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it.
You didn't buy from your dad's nursery either.
No, I could free reign over there, but no, I wouldn't learn that way. So, yeah, I did it the hard way.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So how long have you had this tree then?
Oh, 50 years.
Wow. Not grafted either. I'm surprised you didn't graft it. It's still original form.
Yeah, and when you look at this,
I presume we're looking at the, we're going to look at
this is the back, yeah. You know, one thing about my dad, he would say things like, if you have a hard time finding the front, just look for the back. And then the other side gotta be the front. The branches are, the way I design a tree is each branch should not be on top of another branch. So when I work on trees, I try to create that. And I did pretty good with this, but the branches on this is too straight. Now we're being taught to actually put movement in the branches.
But your trunk is pretty straight too, so you know, it looks
that's true. If this tree was out in the open with the sun coming straight down, that works. But you have to have a story for your tree.
No.
If this tree was on the side of a mountain,
you're gonna have a lot of
yeah.
And that kind of shows in that
Yeah, the wind's blowing on it. When I go camping or prospecting up by the Oregon border on Highway 3, we go to this campsite or this claim. We stay there a week. I've been there 3 weeks already, 3 different times. And we always sit at the fire overlooking a river. And there's this one tree that's about 30 inches at the base. It must be maybe 100 feet tall. And I keep looking at this tree, and the tree goes out like this and goes straight up. So when it was a seedling, about the size of a toothpick, there must have been a little pebble that made it go sideways, then go straight up. So every tree that has some kind of character, there's a reason why. So you have to figure out why it went that way, why it did that. Like other trees I've collected, I can't remember which tree it is.
That's what happens when you have too many trees, Mel.
Yeah, well, these trees like this, there's a reason why it twists. I collected a tree with Harry when I was collecting with Harry. I was underneath a big tree that was, at least California, that was about 20, 30 feet tall. This is in Sand Canyon. And I was under there, I found this real nice movement in the tree. It actually turned like this. And what had happened, it ran into a rock, and that is what made it twist.
I always wonder what made California twist, like, you know, some really drastic movement like that. I was wondering if it's a wind, you know, it just got grown too big and it finally toppled over, termite damage.
There was one hill that had nothing but twisted trees. They're all like a corkscrew, like a drill bit. And I was just fortunate enough to find one.
I just wonder, because, you know, it's like, is it genetics?
I think it has to do with that.
You know, Lindsay and I are always talking, we're like, is it genetics? Is it propagation? Is it, you know, the nature, you know, versus nurture? How do they get these character? Because most of them are straight as a whistle.
Yeah.
I mean, the buttresses will pop out.
Because the one I threw away, last week was actually,
Oh.
actually it was my first California I was going to work on at Harry's. It was actually like a drill. And I started taking off the bark off the drill, off this part here. And I stopped.
Why?
I'm taking off 100 years layer of
that
tree.
That flaky bark?
Well, it wasn't a flake, it was a tree, the wood. The bark I like. There's a reason why there's a bark. That's to insulate it.
So
that's the way I look at it. I don't like to polish that part.
Because a lot of people want, in Japan.
Oh, they want it clean. Yes.
You want it extremely clean to have that delineation between that live vein from the dead wood. But I noticed that some Californians, they look really cool with that, that really flaky bark.
Right.
Some people don't like it. Some people say it's untrimmed, but I think it kind of adds to the history.
It's character. It's just like a man with gray hair. Same difference. Same difference. That's why I like it. I don't take it off.
Your Californians are not small either, Mel.
No.
Those are not small.
I remember carrying that out on my back.
How? Really?
Yeah, I remember bringing this down. My cousin was on one end and I was at the other end, dragging this thing down the hill.
Let me tilt the camera down so you can see. Look how Mel, put your hand right on the base so you can people have an idea how big the base is.
This base? No way.
So you're talking a good, 18, 21 inches across? And that's just the trunk, and that's not even the nabari that goes
Yeah. I remember dragging that down the mountain.
That's a good. What story behind that small You don't see California this small. You gotta be careful now.
I know this is a bad. One of my students in Santa Barbara gave me this thing. Man, it's a monster. The thorns. I don't know. He said it'd make a good bonsai material. I don't think so.
Thorny.
Woo.
You don't see Californians like that. That slender.
Ugh, my dentist.
Oh, we'll have to go visit Dennis one day. But what is the
This is one of my last trees I collected.
Really? Those are hard to come by. Having deadwood feature.
Yes.
Deadwood feature and that almost like a what is it? Bunjin.
Yeah, bunjin.
People see. We all look for people that go to bonsai. Look for Yamadoris. They look for something like, really big character. Big deadwood features. But the older we get, we kind of like, okay, we get was it sizist? We go out there, we don't even know the size anymore. We go crazy and dig, and then realistically, we need something trees are that size to really have.
Carrying something like this back on your backpack is about the limit right here. Because you get caught between the trees and everything.
Or just digging alone, digging a root ball big enough, deep enough.
Well, I wouldn't dig with a root ball.
No.
I would, yeah. But I was very careful not to damage the roots I had and made sure it was well protected from being broken. The whole thing with collecting California is I would soak after getting them home, I would soak them in trash cans or a wheelbarrow 2 or 3 days.
Why is that? Or just to hydrate them back up?
It's just the thing I used to do. And then I figured that the dry wood would get wet, soak up the water, and keep the light part damp. That's my thought. And I got trees to prove it.
You have a better condition too. I mean, you're nice 76 degrees out here.
Well, no, this was in Bueno Park.
Oh, Bueno Park?
Yeah, so I didn't collect any trees when I was here in Costa Mesa. These are all collected and rooted in Bueno Park, and that's pretty warm.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Almost ready to style those, Mel. I think they're ready to be styled.
You know what? I'm going to save that for the next person.
Oh, it's the weight of them now too.
Yeah, I can hardly handle anything like this anymore. Look at this.
Look at the space.
This is the one that was in the snow, I'm pretty sure.
Is this the one that you found sitting down in a fireplace?
Yeah, in the snow. I was sitting at the base of a mountain, or a hill, and I was looking up, and I could see this snow, but I could see this twist. And I was about maybe a quarter mile away.
And you actually just
uphill.
Next morning went up.
No, right after lunch.
Right
up. Nobody. The trouble with California is if you don't dig it
So one of those
that time, it won't be there next time.
Or you won't find it again?
No, that too. Well, you know, you be on top of when you're collecting, you're climbing up. And on the top of this boulder, it might be only this high. But you go down to the bottom of it, it might be 20 feet tall. So you don't know where you leave your tools out there sometimes.
No, that is true.
I had no problem, but several of the members would lose their tools.
So if you had to redo your bonsai garden, what would you change?
Change?
Or add in, do over, what would you do different than you have currently?
More tables.
More tables? More benches?
More benches. Yeah,
Higher
spread them out, spread them out.
Less
But-
trees then though. If you have more benches, you're gonna have less trees on the ground.
Yeah, a lot of these were on the ground at one time.
The more benches.
Yeah. Where was this? This was on the ground,
Oh, it's on the ground?
next to the great myrtle. They were on the ground.
You got a lot of Estradas. I'm pretty impressed. I've never seen a person that was this much for Estrada. Usually it's black pines, California.
Look at that one. That's really a nice one. That was,
The one in the back corner there.
yeah, that was,
Wow, that's really cool movement on that one.
yeah, that was, what was his name? Kaz Yoneda. It was his tree that he had in the yard, grew in the yard, and then we demoed at the California show. This is really unique.
It has a really cool movement.
Yeah.
Even the apex.
Yeah,
Even the apex, it winds all the way up.
yeah.
That's really cool.
I just trimmed that back this week, knowing that you were coming.
Oh my
Put me to work.
You never told me your favorite tree. You
know, they're
talked
all my
around.
favorite.
This is hard, I know it.
They're all my favorite.
Especially I put you on the spot, Mel.
I like this one. This is probably my best tree.
Look at the base on that one. It's a perfectly chokan. Look at that. Okay, some people might think it's a Hollywood juniper just because of foliage. You want to talk about why the foliage looks so different?
Well, that's 2 years ago at the show at the
Nampukai, right?
Nampukai show. I brought it home. I trimmed it way back.
Cut it really, really hard.
Yeah.
And this is a junival foliage. It's a response usually. It goes from a needle, like here, you can see that needle right here, that needle, and then it goes to this really the scale, goes back to the scale. So it's a stress response, is that correct?
I think so. Protect itself.
You gotta stand by it. You see how big this is. You don't understand how, go stand by it, Mel. So people have a scale. Look how big this tree is. Look at that, it's awesome.
Big.
It's a baseball trunk, man, look at that.
Yeah. Man's tree.
How do you repot that? I mean, that's not really easy to repot by itself.
No, you tilt it. I put the pot on its side and actually work it out. If I have a hard time, I use my nozzle that's used for cleaning sidewalks. I'll blow it through here, or I use my sickle.
Oh, so cut it out,
Yeah,
pop it out.
yeah. There's no way around it. Then I use my saw and cut off the root ball. This is what I use for cutting the root ball.
He's old school, not saw, he's a hand saw it.
I have a sawzall, but yeah.
You get a little more control. You do get a little more control.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing everything by myself, so you can't be holding the sawzall in a tree.
Awesome. One or two tips for our like beginners or people doing bonsai. What would you say?
Everything's about the taper.
Oh.
That's number one.
Not movement, taper.
If you don't have taper, the tree could be perfect with big branches. It looks like hell.
Oh, that's a great tip.
Yeah, I know. I've been there, done that, so I already know. You can have the best movement, but if you don't have taper in the branches and the roots, look at this. This tree might look pretty nice with the movement and stuff, but it doesn't have real good roots. It has it if I would show it, but if it doesn't have taper on this side too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I planted it pretty deep, but it has pretty good roots.
Well, Mel, thank you for your time today.
Oh, thank you.
That's great for let us come down to visit. And if you guys like it, just like and subscribe. Mel, say hi, bye to everybody.
Thank you for coming.